give it to the bar.
We had to give it to the bar because they drank everything.
Y'all,
fishes. All of y'all are fishes.
Drank that bar down.
Yeah.
And I loved every second of it.
What's up, growing gang?
Hey, y'all.
Why are you laughing?
No reason.
What's up, growing gang? Happy Friday. Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Ejiro.
I'm Mel.
And this is the Growing Together podcast. Appreciate y'all once again. Continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at
Growing Together Pod.
And like and subscribe. Well, no, I said like, share, and subscribe already.
You did, but that's Growing Together Podcast on YouTube.
On
and
YouTube. TikTok.
Growing.together.pod.
Listen, still trying to work out what this intro is going to look like, so bear with us. We're not trying to be more formal, but like there's still got to be a little bit of structure in like the beginning and the end. Meh. All right. So with that being said, let's get right into the episode. How was your week, beautiful?
Well,
talk to me.
My peak this week is something I am not going to go into too much detail on. Mm-hmm. But I just had a really, 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 really great day on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Would you say, one of them things when like your day just aligns with God's plan?
He only said that because I put that on my Instagram story.
So that's
he literally took my words and literally just threw them at me.
Oh, it's great.
But it's fine. But yes, I mean, you can only have perfection if the Lord is involved, in my opinion. So it was just one of those days, one of those very rare and perfect days. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, like I said, because it is wedding related, and I will get to talking about it and ruin everything. So we are going to move on.
So that's your peak. What's your
valley?
You ain't had a valley since
I ain't had a valley since that day. I'm still on cloud 9. I ain't gonna lie.
You know what? I'm gonna give you that. No valley this week then.
All right,
I'm gonna give you that.
Cool. All right, what's your peak and your valley?
My peak was actually seeing you bounce off walls. I haven't seen you that happy about something in a long time. And when I tell you, you were radiating joy, it did something to me to the point where like I had a great day the next morning just because I saw how happy you were.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. My valley is, I'm not even going to go too deep into this one either. But I would just appreciate when people listen to me when I tell them things the first time.
The problem is that the people who you would love to tell that to are not going to see this.
Nope, not at all. And I hope they never do. Just listen to me the first time.
I got a valley. My valley is you just made a valley about something that you do all the time, because life would be so much easier if you would just listen to me the first time.
But it would be boring.
All right.
Got to add a little razzle dazzle.
No, not that type of razzle dazzle. You need to listen to me more. Nah. I'm not always right, but I'm always right.
I don't know about that.
I said what I said.
I don't know about that.
You don't know a lot of things. That's why you ask me, and then I be right.
Oop. All right.
Checkmate.
Okay. Note to self.
Listen to babe.
Wouldn't say that. Did I say a valley already?
That was the valley.
That was my valley. Don't piss me off.
What's your don't piss me off?
My don't piss me off for this week is the state of the country once again.
You can't. Okay, I take it back. You can't go first because that's mine.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I guess
see how quick she changed her mind.
We can
share a don't piss me off.
I was gonna say we can have the same one.
Yeah.
This week is.
Well, there's a counter. Let me find it.
It's the rollback week, really. The current presidential administration has removed the federal ban on segregated facilities for government contractors. I don't even know what to say to that. I didn't think that this administration, and let's make an effort not to say this man's name at all on this podcast, because I refuse to give that any time. But I didn't think that this administration would do anything to surprise me.
And that's all they've been doing. Dropping surprise after surprise.
But you know what? Everything else is just like
What's that guy? Surprise, surprise.
Oh, I think it's like Danny D on TikTok with the leg. I love him. I ain't gonna lie. I followed him just to keep up with like politics right now because he puts it in like very short form where you can understand and you read it for about 10 seconds or maybe less, and depending on what he's talking about. You see the leg go up and you know that's the end of the TikTok. I love him. I love Danny D. But I can't say that I was surprised by anything. And then this just came and my jaw immediately dropped. I just never thought we would be living through times like this, and it's disappointing. But I mean, Black people have survived and thrived even with the scraps that we have always been given. So I have no doubt that we would continue to make it happen for ourselves, regardless of who wants to keep us down.
Yeah.
I mean, and the powers that be are just running rampant right now. But, we just keep fighting, even though I'm pretty sure a lot of us are tired of being in survival mode. But here we go again, y'all.
I think what's even worse about this administration is the more you start to think about it, we're literally in a constant state of reaction. Because it's like,
but that's what they want.
They're flooding. Like, what was the term? They're flooding the zone. They're doing so many irrelevant things, which potentially could be distracting from the real things that are happening. I work in healthcare, and while all these other things are happening, they're silently planning to like gut and cut Medicaid and Medicare and insurance that literally saves millions of lives anyway. I think it's gotten so bad to the point where people are so brainwashed at the fact that Obamacare is something different than Medicare. So the people who believe that they aren't on Obamacare will vote against Obamacare, not realizing that Obamacare is Medicare and Medicaid. So they're inadvertently shooting themselves in the foot. And then they realize later on, like, oh, wait a minute, these are the same thing.
They don't care, though.
They will care eventually.
Eventually they'll have to when it's like smacking them in the face, which it's starting to.
It started with the federal workers.
We are in the find out portion of the fuck around
that part.
Find out. Mm-hmm. However, I forgot. I was watching a TikTok in some county where over 60% of their residents rely on Medicare and Medicaid, and
it's like somewhere down south.
Yes, and they voted for Trump in both elections.
Yep.
And now they're like, "Oh, we didn't." Well, yes, but you. And I'm almost to a place where it's like I'm tired of hearing people say that like white people voted against their best interests.
No, they voted to keep the status quo.
Nope. They voted their best interest.
Yes.
Because
or what they thought was their best interest.
No, it is their best interest. I 100% believe that they voted within their best interest because they thought that everything that was going to happen was going to affect Black people and was going to take us and bring us down even further to put us under them.
Do you think it's just Black people or is it everybody else?
Everybody that's just not white. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's not white. That's what they thought. Mm-hmm. And we can't continue to say that they voted against their best interest because you have to evaluate what their best interest is.
Yeah.
Because if you really look at all these interviews that all of these news outlets are having with people from the South or with people in general that are being affected by all of these cuts and all of this and that, if you really take a listen to what they're actually saying, they're basically saying, I wanted this and that to be gone. I just didn't think it would affect me.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially
we got to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. They knew what the hell they were voting for.
And I think that's a valid point. We got to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt because at this point they're clearly showing their hand. Even down to federal workers who thought that honestly that they were safe and that was their safe haven to retire.
Which is insane to me because, I mean, the first thing that a president can affect is the federal government. And if you work for the federal government, obviously you're not protected.
And what's mind-boggling also is the fact that he's doing everything he said he would do.
Yeah, he ain't hold no punches.
He hasn't changed the playbook. They can't call him a liar about what he stood for running on.
Well, that's not necessarily true. He did get in front of a bunch of people and say, we're not going to touch Medicare. We're not going to touch Medicaid.
But that was what he said. But his literal campaign playbook was that.
He denied that though. They believed him when he denied that was not his plan. That's just some made up fairy tale. He denied that. And they believed him. That's your fault. Now you got the egg on your fucking face, stupid.
No, they can't have egg on their face because eggs are too expensive.
That was good. That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. They can't have egg on their face.
They can't.
Oh, well, he about to change the narrative now that those eggs about that Biden signed for
From Turkey.
are about to come
Turkey?
over.
I think it's Turkey.
I believe so. But, Biden made the trade deal to make sure that we could get eggs by the summer. And now that the prices are about to come down for them and we're about to have them again.
He gonna claim it.
Oh, for sure.
It's funny when it's like, when everything is right, it's his economy. But when everything is literally tanking,
bruh,
it's Biden's economy. Biden lives rent free in this man's head. The entire administration's head.
I think the funniest back and forth that I ever saw in regards to that was when he was like, before the election, and he was campaigning. It was like the stock markets are doing great. They're going very well in anticipation of me being president. It's going so well. Now he in office, and he like, well, Biden gave me a terrible economy. I don't know what you want me to do. And then the motherfucker goes, well, why should we pay attention to the stock market anyway?
Bruh, they said, no, the craziest part was the guy in charge of the numbers was like, yeah, currently the stock market's looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate what's actually being calculated in the statistics and then only show you the good part. Because right now, the federal government's inefficiency is being counted. I said, so you fail in the test. Instead of learning and actually trying to figure out the answers, you're just going to change the test to match your answers.
But you know what, though? That's the problem. They've always had access to the test.
Absolutely.
They've always had access to the test. But I'm off it before we raise my blood pressure.
Listen, you know what? God be with us all. That's all I can say.
That's all we got.
All right.
That's all we need.
All right.
Amen.
Now let's get into the real episode as to why you're here, because you're not here for us to talk politics. This episode is going to be about our engagement. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about all things engaged. We're going to talk about everything before, everything.
The engagement and everything that surrounds it. Everything in between. Everything, yeah.
You're not going to let me be.
No, because you get so wordy. And we talking about the engagement and everything in between. That's it. Between, and when I say in between, I mean between then and now.
Yeah. So
Lordy. See how simple that was?
No, it's more fun.
No.
Listen, you can't be direct in podcasts. You got to give a little more word vomit.
No.
Absolutely. It makes for great television.
If you were consistent about one thing in this podcast, is you say that every episode.
Ain't it television?
So we talking about the engagement this episode, y'all. Yeah. That's all I got. I just want to stop you in the middle of that sentence because I was tired.
All right. So let's go back to, actually, first of all, when did we get engaged? Let's see if you remember.
August 25th, 2023.
What time?
Okay, too much because you don't even know what time.
I remember we walked in the building at like 7 o'clock.
Whatever. And it was probably after 7.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was a little after 7.
Yeah. Anyway.
I can't believe you tried to stump me on the time, knowing you didn't have the time just because you knew I knew the date.
Hey, man.
Trying to make me look crazy.
A little bit.
Trying to change the test.
Hey, man. Gotta,
no.
manipulate.
It's for the whites. Continue.
All right. So we originally had the conversation about what we were going to do like 2 years prior, after what is now fondly known to us as the Nathan nuke. We love you, but fuck you, Nathan. We do appreciate you though, because
we wouldn't have survived.
We really wouldn't have
to this point if he didn't drop the bomb on our relationship. So yeah, I mean, you have to have those uncomfortable conversations, and I think that he saw a problem that he knew that we saw, but I don't.
Do you think we saw the problem, or were we just like...
We saw the problem.
Okay.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
we saw the problem, but neither one of us wanted to have that conversation because I think we both thought we would lose the relationship.
Yeah, the relationship was, at that point, we were like, what, 2 years in?
Yeah, and we were solidified, and we were like, we know we want to do this.
We know we want to do this, but
it wasn't great.
So talk me through how that conversation went that I apparently forced you on, or forced on you.
Yeah,
because according to you, I beat you over the head like a caveman, dragged you into the cave.
That's not what I said. I've never said that. I've never said those words ever in my life. Never. No, I think you sat me down in my mom's kitchen, and you were like, what are we doing? Like, we're 2 years into this relationship. Like, well, you said, what are we doing? But I knew what that meant. You were basically asking me, like, do I see a future? Like, are we dating to be married? Like, am I in that space where I'm looking at you and see a husband?
Yeah.
And, in the same way that you were looking at me as a wife and you bared your soul and...
Yeah, I came out right and told you, I was like, look, I've prayed about this. This is something that I see. This is what I'm seeing for our relationship. This is what I'm seeing for me. And this is what I'm seeing for you. Is that vision the same thing that you are seeing? And if so, how do we get there? And what changes do we both need to make to get there?
Yeah, and I responded with, well, it's taking it a day at a time. And let me clarify.
She hurt my feelings.
I didn't mean to.
She absolutely hurt my feelings.
But I clarified like 2 seconds after because.
But the only reason you clarified is because you saw my face, because you saw my jaw drop.
But I also can't assume that you know exactly what I mean.
Fair dues.
So what I mean by I was taking things a day at a time is that I'm not fantastical. I don't look into the future and just be like, oh, and I'm just going to have this man and we're going to have this big wedding and we're going to get married in the white picket fence.
She's not Galinda.
No, I'm not. But one of the things I value the most in a relationship, I realized up until that point, is I valued consistency. And up until that point, you had been there every single day on a very consistent level. And I'm a bit of a pessimist to the point where I'm like, well, you never know, because based on my life experiences, one day you could just decide you don't want to do this no more and up and leave.
Yeah.
So it's just like, let me see if you show up tomorrow. And then when tomorrow comes, let me see if you show up tomorrow. Because for me, that's love. Consistency is love to me. So I had to explain that to you to where it wasn't like to where you could understand that it's not that I don't see a future with us and I don't see it, like my future didn't include you. It was just that I just don't see it in the same way you did.
Do you remember the exact words you said to me? Because I actually remember them.
No, I do not.
You said, and I quote, I do see a future with you because you are one of the things in my life I want to keep constant.
Yeah.
And that was what, like, okay, we could do this. We could survive.
Yeah. That was the most honest I can get.
Yeah. So at that point, after that conversation, talk me through, or from your perspective, how the plan of when we were going to get engaged, what that timeline looked like.
Well, when it came to the timeline.
She gave me another ultimatum.
No, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yes, you did.
But you did well with this one, though.
Yeah, whatever, because I kind of liked you, ugly.
You see how well this ultimatum worked out? But I told him, we were only 2 years up until that point, but I was like, I'm not about to be in a relationship and be a 5-year girlfriend. So you got until we get to the 5th year.
But what was wrong with 5 years, though?
It just didn't work for me. I can't.
Bear in mind, at that point, I was, 24? How old was I in 2019?
I don't know.
I turned 29 this year. That was 5 years ago. Well, now 6, technically. So, yeah, 24.
And what?
Yeah, I was 24, you were 26.
And what?
All right, go ahead. Continue.
It just didn't work for me. I just didn't want to end up like a girlfriend. Well, we're 8 years and we're just boyfriend. No, absolutely not. I made it very clear. If we're going to do this, this is my timeline. And you either meet the deadline or you don't. That's it.
And I was like,
there's
no
real reason behind it.
And this was the time I used her words against her. I said, all right, we'll take it day by day.
I wasn't particularly...
That's literally what I said. Because I never gave a concrete answer. I said, I see where your plan is, and we'll just take it day by day.
Which was fine with me. I knew you were doing it and saying it to be a butt, but...
It wasn't about being a butt.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't about being a butt.
You weaponized my words against me on purpose to be an asshole. That's exactly what happened.
That was not what it was. What it actually was the fact that I realized that you were starting to really enjoy surprises. And had I said yes, you would have found a way to try to get whatever date it was coming out of me.
I still did.
You did. And that's my point. And I had to start to train myself.
It was just up to you not to cave.
And at that point, I had to start to train myself to be like, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm not falling for that. You got it. So we've had that conversation now. We've established the timeline. Is there anything else you want to say about that timeline conversation?
That I think right after the timeline conversation, somewhere within that month, we went ring shopping.
Yes. So, gentlemen, tip, early tip. The moment you realize,
Pause.
She's a child. You are literally a child.
Sorry.
Early pointer. Early pointer.
Still a little crazy, but I'll allow it.
Oh my God. Fine. Early advice. If you are so choosing to marry or propose to your significant other, make sure you do the ring shopping early so that she can forget what that ring looks like.
Well, everybody's memory ain't like mine. She might remember.
No, she's not going to remember. And make sure she takes 0 pictures.
I did take pictures, though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did, because I remember I put it on my Instagram story, and I was like, we did a thing. And people were DMing me like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
You did do that. You did do that. But then I made you delete them.
True.
I made you delete it
off. It still came up on memories.
I did.
But I never.
You never told me that.
So it wasn't your business.
Wait a minute. So you knew what your ring looked like after all this time?
I didn't know that you were going to propose, and you made it very clear when we were ring shopping that like you liked the ring that I liked, but it was no guarantee that you weren't going to find something that you liked better. All you wanted was an idea of what I liked.
That is true.
So while I knew what my ring was like, I had an idea of what my ring was going to look like. I had no idea you were going to go get the exact ring that I wanted.
Yeah, because if you know me, I'm a big stickler for jewelry. So like,
yeah, so like you were basically like, if you find something better, you're going to get that. But you just wanted an idea of what I would look like, the size of the ring that I would like what it look like on my finger, like that sort of thing. So
yeah, because you are really picky about how things sit on your fingers.
Yeah.
So there was that. So we did the ring shopping early. Are there any other things before we like go into how? Oh, then we had the conversation about how you wanted to be proposed to. Correct. So how did you want to be proposed to at that time in your mind, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it took me a while to answer that question because again, I'd never thought about it.
She never thought she'd be married, but that's in a previous episode.
But the more I thought about it, because I had to, I was like, well, I didn't care about a lot of the smaller details. I just knew, one, I didn't want the "Will you marry me" sign.
You stressed that. You said you better not have no stupid big.
I hate though, and no shade to any woman that has it, no shade to the women that like it. I don't, because I don't want, granted, you know what the setup for the situation is. You know you're about to get proposed to.
Yeah.
But I don't want to read it. I want to hear it out your mouth. Because a lot of the videos that I see on TikTok and Instagram that go viral, a lot of the time the man don't even have to say a word. The sign right behind him.
That's true.
So the woman just run up and be like, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to hear it. I don't want to read it.
Yeah.
I want to hear it. So I was very adamant about no "Will you marry me" sign.
No, will you? What were the other stipulations?
I wanted the proposal to go directly into my engagement party because I have some of my absolute closest friends live out of town.
Yep.
And I know that,
Look at her, so considerate.
I try to be every now and then.
Only
Only the people that I care about, though.
That part.
So, I wanted to make sure that because private proposals are fine, I guess, but my opinion, for no shade to anybody who likes private proposals. I like things like that to be shared with family and friends. So I wanted my family and friends there for the proposal and for the, obviously, and for the engagement party, but specifically for in regard to my friends, closest friends being out of town, I didn't want them to. I told you I wanted both to be shared.
Yeah,
I didn't want them to have to come in for a proposal and then come back a couple months later for the engagement party.
And at that time, we had that conversation real early. First of all, shout out to her for even having that foresight, because that might have been God talking through you. Because at that point, looking fast forward, flights became ridiculously expensive around our engagement. So had people flown in and then flown back out, we probably wouldn't have had an engagement party.
Yeah.
We probably would have had something local here with whoever was here. Yeah. But I'm sorry, continue.
No, that was it. I don't remember.
There were other stipulations too.
What were they?
Other stipulations, what you wanted it to be decorated a certain way. You didn't have like a specific preference, but you were like, you want to walk in and for it to feel like a dreamy room.
Correct.
Secondly, no, you've.
It's all right. Just keep going.
You also said that you didn't really care about the food, but you wanted there to be an abundance of libations.
Yeah, I mean, I just want. Hey, man, I'm a Libra, so I just like everybody to have a good time.
You're the CFO. Chief Fund Officer.
I just like everybody to have a good time, and a good time we had.
No, that's a part. And with that being said, now I'm going to shift your mindset from all of that to the year of engagement, right? What were your thoughts once we hit year 4?
Y'all know that Judge Judy gif? That's my thoughts.
Look at her knocking over stuff.
They couldn't even see it. Dang, you ain't have to point it out. But there's no words to describe my thoughts at that point, because at that point I'm like, all right, game time. Shot clock. What you finna do?
The moment we hit like that 4th year anniversary, she was like, all right, this the year. You got to like December.
Yeah, and I told him, I'm like, if this isn't it, we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
And it would suck to break up, but
She was adamant that she was leaving. I didn't think so. You was gonna leave me? If I didn't propose, you was gonna leave? Be honest. No, like for real.
Do I look like I'm joking?
Why would you leave?
I'm not gonna waste my time.
Why would that be wasted time though? What if I needed like an extra year?
Then we could have talked about it.
Okay.
But when I said it, you didn't say anything. And anytime you told us, you said we had this conversation at year 2. Mm-hmm. You had 2 years to have a conversation with me. Mm-hmm. 2 years.
So, okay, at that point, if I came in that year 4 and was like, hey, I need one more year.
No, I ain't gonna lie.
So that's my point. You were gonna.
No, I think I don't know.
Girl math, bro.
I can't 100% tell you that I would leave, but I also can't 100% tell you that I would stay. Would have stayed. Would have left. I can't tell you.
All right.
I don't know, but it don't matter.
So now that we've established that you weren't leaving.
That's what I said? Okay.
Yes, that's what I heard.
All right. I'm okay with that.
Now that we've established that you weren't leaving, talk me through.
How you got me to the party?
No, not even there. That is probably going to be me.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that. Talk me through how you felt each month the closer and closer we got to the end of December.
I can't tell you that I was anxious about it.
You weren't? You were just certain that I was going to do right?
I mean, yeah, because... And it had no, you laughing because you think I'm trying to be funny, but I'm actually not. It had nothing to do with me and my timeline and this ultimatum that I gave you, but it had everything to do with the type of man you had been to me up until that point.
Oh, well,
I knew that you wanted to be with me.
Dang.
As much as I wanted to be with you. So I'm like...
Is this where consistency shot me in the foot?
Yeah. It's 100% where it shot you in the foot, because I'm like, I know this man. Oh, I know him. So if he hasn't said anything yet and he still knows, what I said my timeline is going to be, I'm not worried. Okay. So I knew it was coming eventually. I knew it was coming within that year. So like there was no anxiety. I was already settled. I had prayed on it. I knew who I was supposed to be with. And
but you still asked me every single month.
Yeah, because why not? Just to piss you off. It's the equivalent. It's the girlfriend to fiance transition equivalent of, are we there yet?
Oh, whatever, bro. All right, so now we're gonna talk from my perspective.
Okay.
So what's funny about the whole ring situation? When we went to go look at that ring, I was like, all right, cool. This is the ring. Because I saw how your eyes lit up, regardless of how I felt about it. And if we're gonna talk about ring specs, your ring is a 2.5 carat VS2. No. VS. Eye color with minimal inclusions, ring specs. And
you trying to get me robbed?
Literally, everybody looks at your hand the moment you walk in the room.
You
like,
trying to get me robbed.
So the moment you saw that ring, you literally loved it. Your mom loved it. And I was like, all right, cool. This is the one. Now I had to figure out how to get that ring without you knowing, because at that point I was still living by myself in Madison Heights. You were still living with your mom. So I was like, if I need to get this ring, I need to get this ring within the next few months so it doesn't just disappear. So what I ended up doing is shortly after we left, I went back. I think that Sunday.
What?
I went back that Sunday.
Within the same week?
That same week. And I put the ring into layaway.
Lord. Okay.
Because I knew that was that ring. And if you know anything about ring shopping, unless it's a custom made ring, they go like that. For example, when we went to go pick Breon's Pastor Breon's
Amen.
ring. Remember,
we helped him. Yeah, we were scared.
We were scared because it was like, if we walk out of here,
he might not be able to come
back and get it. So there was that, which was actually a great experience. Shout out to Pastor
I know,
B.
helping another couple ring shop was
dope.
That was so nice.
That was so nice. All right, so there was that. But I got that ring literally in 2023.
Yeah, I was told at the engagement party that all of the planning for the engagement happened 2 years before. So it all started in 2023.
So let's go through the planning process. This girl is stubborn. So trying to get her anywhere.
I got questions.
She is asking questions about everything. Who gonna be there? What I gotta
First
wear?
First of all, that's a very important question. Who all gonna be there?
Literally, who all gonna be there? What I gotta wear? Can we be late? We end up being late anyway. If you know,
like 10 minutes.
If you know this girl, please comment in the sections.
Why you trying to have my friends?
If you know this girl, comment in this video and let her know how late she is. She's an ill respecter of time. Anyway,
I wasn't always like this. I was made like this. I wasn't born this way because my mom hates when I'm late.
Me too. You know it.
You can put up with it though.
I have no choice. I'm marrying it. All right, so we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to make this?
First of all, tell everybody who is the we. Who is a part of my planning committee?
Planning committee. Shout out to the gang. Planning committee was Kim Hardy, Courtney, shout out sis. Drea was involved, shout out sis too. Asia, your mama, Nico. I'm sorry, bestie. Who else?
Was that it?
I have a.
Do you still have?
I still have the. Yep, I still have it. I still have it.
That's so funny. Why do you still have that?
Manny. I think that's it. Yeah, Manny was the last person. And Nathan, your best friend, was involved. So I've bought the ring now. Immediately, we create this group chat. It ends up being called Le Gang.
That's very you.
Yeah. It ends up being called Le Gang because she'll have my phone in my hand and she wouldn't be surprised if like a group chat pops up of Le Gang, because it's either my fraternity brothers texting me, it could be like my African friends texting me. So we had to make it inconspicuous. The moment I had the ring in hand, because I put the ring in layaway in 2023, I didn't end up getting out till early 2024. So ring went into layaway. We got the ring. The moment the ring comes out, I sent a picture in the group like, all right, gang, it's time. So we start trying to figure out how in the hell are we going to get Miss Nosy and Miss Busybody to a venue without her knowing, having no idea what it is. Also, one of the requirements, it just triggered, one of the requirements that you had is I couldn't propose during a special event. I.e. your birthday, no holidays, no Christmas.
No. I don't want to share the holiday.
So the first thing we had to decide was when it was going to be. I don't like the heat, so it wasn't going to be in the summer. It couldn't be anywhere in the winter because October is your birthday. Before you know it, it's Thanksgiving. And then it's Christmas. So it's like the only time it could happen was August. So we decided, all right, bet. This is what we're going to do. We're going to at least spot out venues or find venues to make sure it happens. We go and start looking for venues. And when I tell you these prices are outrageous, outrageous. She keeps telling me, you ain't got to spend money. You ain't got to spend money. We went to visit one venue. The engagement budget tripled. Initially, we said, okay, we're going to spend about $2,000. By the time we're done, it was $7,000. So we're like, all right, cool. No problem.
Well, it should make you feel better that it wasn't just the proposal. It was the proposal and the actual party.
And that's what justified like spending that much. So we're like, cool, bet. So we start planning, and shout out to Kim. Kim came up with this idea. Kim was like, actually, we need to hang out with them. Kim was like, why don't we make it my 1 year
wedding anniversary
party? Because at that point, around that time, they're like, well, they got married, what, September 1st? Was it Labor Day weekend?
Yeah. And their wedding anniversary was
the weekend
after we got engaged. So it was believable.
So the plan was she is going to throw this elaborate 1 year engagement party.
Wedding
anniversary party. Because the next week they'd be traveling out of town to go celebrate their second honeymoon. So we like, all right, bet. How we're going to do it. How are we going to do this? Shout out to Kim, because Kim immediately makes an Evite. And we're like, okay, cool. When does this go out? And when I tell you Nico is organized, Nico had a timeline of when stuff had to be ready, when stuff had to go out. So by January, when you got the invitation to the wedding anniversary party and you had to RSVP us, everybody else was getting save the dates to fly in for the engagement party. If I could find some of that stuff, I'll try to edit it and include it in the video so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I created this little flyer that was like a save the date for everybody to come. I think that should still be on Canva. So that comes up and we start sending that out in like January. We start collecting RSVPs of who's going to be there. We're like, okay, who needs to be there? When do they need to get in? How are we going to figure this out? Boom. And when I tell you time started flying from January, we booked the venue, I think we booked the venue like early January, just like maybe even February, actually. So we booked the venue in February. We had it at the Socialite Event Gallery. Shout out to that team. They no longer own the building, but Kayla and her fiance at the time, now husband, were absolutely incredible from the jump. They got us together. They were like, all right, cool. This is what we're going to do. Everything was already there. The package was there. Your mom graciously hosted, paying for the food for the engagement party, which was dope. And then the next thing we had to figure out was, what the hell were you going to wear? This girl is so stubborn because she literally was like, I'm just going to wear something from my closet.
Why? What is the logic in buying a new dress for somebody else's party? Because you wanted me to buy a new dress, get some new heels, get my hair done, get my makeup done. And I'm like, bro, for what?
How did that not give you a clue as to what was going on?
Because you're particular about everything like that.
Amen. Shout out to consistency. Ugh. So then I'm going to give you this. How did we convince you to buy all that stuff?
So out of nowhere, along with the invitation, the directions or instructions on the invitation to the wedding anniversary party changed. And now they were having a best dress competition. They were having a best dress competition. And the couple that like wins walks away with like $1,000.
Yep.
And again, I still didn't care. I'm like, I'm still about to just wear something in my closet, take it or leave it. Like, I still didn't care. You acted like you were so hell bent on winning this money.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we going on and on and on. And I'm like, okay. So then I started looking at dresses. And I think I started on like Fashion Nova or something like that. And you like, no, that's not good enough.
We gotta come.
All these other girls are gonna come in Fashion Nova dresses to this party. You need
gotta come heat.
So I'm like, I'm no longer asking you. So where I fucked up is I started asking Courtney, not realizing she's also on the damn team. And she's like, no, that's not it. Blah, blah, blah. Which is, again, typical of our conversations. Like I might pick something and she'll be like, but we can find something better. But like Courtney and her sister Lex are my fashion gurus. Like I don't I don't plan or pick outfits without running them by my stylist. Like, for real. So yeah, and they helped me pick out the shoes and the dress. But where I started to irritate you again on that front is because I kept procrastinating buying the dress.
Our engagement party was August 25th. She ordered her dress July 4th.
I did. Oh shoot. And what's even more fucked up is the first dress I bought didn't fit.
Yep.
It was too small. And so then I'm immediately like, okay,
I'm not going.
I'm not going. So I'll wear something. Still, again, I'm back in my closet with it. Courtney, like, no, like, just see if they got your size and see if you could do like just an even exchange. It's not even that big of a deal. Just blah. And I'm like, okay. And I think like waited a week before I returned the
You realize remember when you told me like I'm not going? I walked out of the room.
I don't remember.
I called Courtney. I called Courtney. I was like, get this fucking girl. Because now she's talking about she not going when she the one that fucking, I was screaming on. Courtney was like, bro, calm down.
She had your back.
She's like, I got this. Let me handle it.
I mean, like I said, I still took a week before I returned it. And it was like the moment I returned it, it was like they had it ready to ship in another box. And I got the dress that I had, or I got the new dress, and it fit like perfectly. I didn't have to have any alterations done. I just had like a little what do they call it?
Bustle.
I had to get that, put it on the dress because it had like a bit of a train. And so, yeah. And then
You want to talk shoe fiasco?
there was a fiasco?
Yeah.
Oh, it was because like they came like super late.
Your shoes arrived 3 days before
I
the
think
engagement.
they got lost.
Yeah, no. So they came from like a dealer, but we kept missing the signature.
Yes.
And once they do that, they send it back
So we
because
kept
they're
calling.
designers. So we kept calling like, hey, we're home. Y'all aren't knocking. First of all, fuck you, FedEx. But like, we're home. Nobody's knocking.
I was working from home at the time. So yeah, I know I was home. But it came. And then I think the last fight was y'all convincing me to get my makeup done because I found that to be completely unnecessary.
She was like, I'm gonna do my makeup myself. I have no problems. I think I'm like, bro, just go get your makeup done. And this is what pissed me off the most. I was offering to pay for everything, and she would still say no.
Cause that's unnecessary. I need you to spend your money. And I know most girls probably be like, "You stupid," but I just didn't want to spend it. It for somebody else's party. It just seemed like too much. Also, on that note,
what?
The day before the party, I go on Twitter.
Oh. It wasn't the day before the party.
Yes, it was. I think it was the day before. Either the day before or the week before.
I think it had to be the week before your little tweet.
Yeah, I get.
Do you have it saved?
Yes, right here. I don't go on X anymore, so like it's very, very quick to find.
Okay.
I'm literally already in 2023.
No, I have the actual. I have it screenshotted in my debrief notes.
I have the actual tweet on my page.
I'm screaming.
It literally says. And I made this tweet 8/23. So that was 2 days before.
2 days before.
So I said, I'm honestly glad this party on Friday is coming and going because the prep for it has been a pain in my ass, especially for somebody else's party. I better have a great time. And I put great in all caps.
What's funny is about that, everybody who was in on it, shout out Brenna and Mister, they saw it first. They texted to me. And when I tell you people were talking about you in their close friends, because at that point, everybody had kicked you out. But we'll get there. So they all kicked her out of their close friends, and they see this, and they talking cash shit. But let's get into let's
the actual party.
Yeah, not even the actual party. Let's go before that. So after the whole planning situation and everybody deciding whether or not they were able to come in and whatnot, we ran into a bit of an issue because flight prices jacked up out of nowhere. So we were scared at that point that Nathan was not going to be able to make it because
he was also had to be in Chicago the next weekend?
The next day. And also the week before was Afro Nation. So
yeah,
it's like,
so he was here 2 weekends in a row.
2 weekends in a row. So we were trying to figure all of that out. Now, night before the party. Actually, no, let's go week before. Week before the party, I actually start doing this vlog. When I tell you my nerves were shot. I was nervous. I wasn't as loving. I wasn't as affectionate because I literally was thinking about what I was going to say, how I was going to say it. I feel like I literally could feel my skin boiling with anxiety. Like you were like, why aren't you sleeping? Like what's wrong with you?
Or you ain't like you weren't talking to me as much. I think that was the part that was the weirdest part because we talked too much.
Yeah.
So it was like you would not talk to me, and I'm like, did I do something? Like, and you're like, no, everything's fine. I'm like, bro, but you blamed it on work. I think you blamed it on work,
and that's what made you so mad that you went to go talk to Courtney.
No, it was that, but that piled on top of other things. Like there were other things. You
felt like I was being really, really mean to you for no reason.
You were being mean for no reason because I was trying to figure out: is this the man that you actually are, and like, do I actually want to be with you and put up with you? It triggered trauma.
It triggered trauma, and I'm like, I can't console you in this moment because if I try to console you and tell you why I'm acting this way, it's going to ruin the surprise. So I keep kind of being less romantic. I'm very standoffish. I come into the house, I go sit in.
It wasn't like you. I didn't like it.
So she starts freaking out and she's like, fuck you. Da, da, da. You never said fuck you.
No, first of all, I didn't even tell you that I went to have a conversation with Courtney about this until way after the engagement party. So like it was just I have sister dates with Courtney and we try to do a monthly, but like sometimes there are emergency sister dates and I called her and I said, bitch, emergency, SOS, 911,
SOS.
Mayday, like I'm finna be single in 2.5. Literally, I've had it with this man.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'll buy the wine and I'll buy the food. I'm coming over this weekend. And
that was probably crazy.
I think that was probably 3 weeks or so before the actual engagement party.
Yeah.
But I went to her house and I just was like pouring out my heart. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. And because it was like other stuff that was just piling on. It's like apparently, like, obviously I know now, but the closer we got to the engagement, the worse everything got.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling her and I'm like, is this who he actually is?
Yep.
Because again, I mean, I've had that trauma before.
Oh, you caught me in lies too.
Yeah,
You caught me in lies. That's what it was. Because you had told me. Because I had told you like, oh, I was going to the gym.
It was something, man.
But then I forgot that my location was on. I was at Oakland Mall.
And you were first, we're not the location couple. It's you had went out of town for something, and I had your location, and you didn't turn it off. So
yeah,
we don't do the location sharing location thing. But yeah, like, and that's my number one pet peeve. Don't ever lie to me.
Yeah,
don't ever. And if you lie to me, you better make sure I never find out. I will leave. I will leave. No questions asked. No fuss. No cussing. No nothing. I will literally leave very calmly if for lying. I don't play lying. I don't play that at all. So I go over there to Courtney's and she's like, I mean, I'm still nope. Knowing what I know now, it doesn't like lessen the effect of her advice, but it was just in my mind at the time, like just really good sister advice because she had been in a relationship. She was getting married. She had been with her now husband for way longer than we had been together. And she's just talking about life and phases. And sometimes it's not you, like it's just his life that's going on. And it's like, I genuinely don't think
shout out to Court for spitting that.
She like, I don't think he's that type of person that you have to worry about switching up on you like your dad. And like, I mean, she was just going, I left her house reassured, like, okay, I'm gonna stick this out because maybe this is just like a one-off.
And the reason why I was being like that, because I'm the type of person where it's like, I will buy you a surprise
and be like, I got you a surprise.
I got you a surprise. You want to see it? That's me.
Yes, it is.
So I had to like
stop talking to me.
This was literally I had to, because I found myself either like lying really, really badly or being really, really mean. Because I would be very, very short.
I know. I think what the boiling point for you being mean to me was one time, I think I was like, it was just word vomit. I was deliriously sleepy and I'm just talking to you and you were just like, bro, please leave me alone. And I was like, oh, this nigga different. Because who are you and what have you done with my boyfriend? Like, oh, no.
Yeah, I remember that.
Leave me alone. Oh. And we was in bed. Leave me alone.
You were like, I'll leave you alone. Bet.
Say less. I'll leave you the hell alone. I can show you what leave you alone looks like. I was so through with you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to the happy stuff.
Okay.
So the week of the engagement, funnily enough, it was a real packed weekend.
Yeah.
Because it was Afro Nation weekend, and then we kind of went back into work and would be the engagement party, which you at that point didn't know. So I started vlogging, and shout out to Adeze. Adeze literally took that off my plate where I would kind of have like a 7-day countdown vlog.
She put the video together?
She put the video together. She also...
you never told me that.
See, sometimes I got to keep little nuggets. She put the video together. Adeze also helped in putting together all the congratulatory videos from all of our friends and family into this thing that ended up being the debrief session. Because one thing you asked was, if I'm going to plan a surprise,
I wanted to know everything.
You wanted to know everything it took
to
get there and afterwards. So we end up having the debrief session. You guys are kind of getting a rough version of it. There's of course some details we're not releasing, but we're gonna give you what we can. So the night before the engagement party, you went to the Jonas Brothers concert with Asia.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
And that was actually strategized that way, because
I was going to see the Jonas Brothers regardless.
While you were going, and it was literally perfect, because while you were at the Jonas Brothers concert, me, Courtney, Gabe, Jate, Manny, Kim, and Nico all went to the venue to do the final walkthrough the night before. And I also had to go hand over the ring to Gabe. So we did that. And then also Courtney had flown into town. So we were like, bro, it's your last night, like as a single man.
Before you proposed. They took you out.
We went out, we got drinks, ended up pouring rain that night. And what's funny is you thought I was just hanging out at Gabe's house, but I literally went to Livonia, came back downtown, was down the street from you because you were at LCA. I was at some restaurant like in that area. Lynn had come into town. Jate was here. Ejiro was here. Like everybody had gotten to town the night before.
Literally, I will give it up for our friends and family, because everybody that you invited was there except Nate, but that was only because he caught COVID.
Yeah. Oh, one big thing that you thought was weird and you hated me for. Every time you'd be on the phone with one of your friends, like your really close friends, I'd be like, hey, you should stop sharing your location with her just to piss her off.
Oh yeah, because by the time, but
I did that strategically from like January to July,
just as a thing. Because everybody did turn their locations.
So they started turning off their locations on you, because you'd be like, bitch, why the fuck you turn your location off? They'd be like, oh, my bad, I forgot. I'll do it later when I get off work.
Yeah,
and it just kept dragging until they got here in August. So getting ready for the engagement party.
Let's skip to the engagement. We've been talking this long. This
is like getting ready. Like I'm talking about getting ready to go to the engagement party.
Okay.
Getting ready to go to the engagement party. You literally were like, this shit better be fun. Like, it's stupid. Like,
I was irritated. And then we get in the car, and that was the most silent car ride we've ever had, because you would not talk to me.
I would not talk because I was shitting bricks.
I literally knew that something was wrong, because we get in the car and you didn't put on Afro beats.
No.
You literally was like, you can play what you want, which you never do.
I usually let you listen to your music.
Once every blue moon.
Yeah.
Once every blue moon.
And that was the once every blue moon.
Whatever. And so I'm in the car. I'm like, okay, I got to hype myself up because it's a party and I'm already irritated. My nigga won't talk to me. So like, if I don't want it to show on my face, because my emotions will show on my face, especially when I'm irritated, I'm like, I got to sing some hype love songs or something.
Yeah.
And then, so we pull up, we get there.
Hold on 1 second. So yeah, you have to hype yourself up.
So what's funny about that is that we get to where the venue where the wedding anniversary party is happening, and then we pull into a parking space.
That's just so conveniently in the front.
But we're sitting. And then you get out of the parking space and like drove around the parking lot. And I'm like, what are you doing?
The reason I had to do that,
it was because my aunties were driving right in front, like a car in between us, and they pulled up the same time we did, and so we had to get from out of the front so that I wasn't in front of the door to allow my aunts to sneak in.
Bro,
so that was funny.
When I saw that car, I almost lost my shit.
I mean, not too many people have a Jeep Renegade too. So,
bro,
like,
I was like, "What are you doing?"
Honestly, I'm usually very vigilant, but this was one of those situations where it was like I was with you and I just turned my brain off. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, and I'm at a party that I'm like, I'm really not in the mood for. I'm irritated with you. I'd rather go home. But here we are. We're gonna be hyped. We're gonna do this. And so I didn't have my shoes on, so fastened my shoes while we were driving around the parking lot. We get out the car and I hear Burna Boy's For My Hand.
And she is dancing like, hey,
I'm like,
this is my song.
Like, I'm like, let's go. It's
She's
like,
like,
okay.
I want to be your life.
I'm like, this about to be a good party if it's starting with some Afro beats as soon as we walk in.
And I'm talking like
lit.
the music was so loud, the door wasn't even open.
No, but
and
you could hear it.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you had to tell me to quit playing because I'm outside of the door like.
I'm like, come on, bro. Let's go to this party. We already late.
So you open the door.
Because bear in mind, we lied to her and told her that the party started at 6 to get there for 7.
Whatever. So we go in.
Late ass.
I'm not opening the doors of the church at no party. Not even my own. But we walk in and I think the first person I saw was Janae. She's sitting at the table right in front of me. And I'm like, Janae don't know Kim and Mike. And then we come further in and I see like Andrea and Damo and all of them.
So
and
there was
like,
a strategic like canopy placed
yeah,
at the
so
entrance.
like I couldn't really see anything, but it looked like it looked like a venue like decorated for a party.
Yeah.
There was nothing that signified engagement until we turned the corner, but obviously I couldn't see that. Next thing I know is my Courtney. And I get up to the thing and she is taking my purse and my phone and she whispers to me, she was like, you did this for me. Because when she got engaged, she was walking down like through all of these people and she still had her purse and her phone in her hand. And I took it from her and I passed her a little bit of tissue as she went to go get engaged. So at my engagement, she stood there. I guess she told you that she wanted to be the one to do that for me because I was the one who did it for her. And she took my phone and she took my purse and she was like, you did this for me. Now it's your turn. And my brain still ain't clicked. I'm crying because it clicked, but I'm just like,
is this really happening?
Because I remember saying like, I think you told me like before my hand came out, a year and a half ago, you were like, if I'm gonna propose, this would be the song I'll propose to. Because it had Ed Sheeran on it, but it also had like some Afrobeats elements, but it also had R&B elements, which kind of like represented the blending of cultures. And I'm crying already. And I remember we walking in and you guide me over to the thing and I'm looking at everybody in this room and I'm like, all of these damn people done kept a damn secret from me. I'm irritated. I'm like, how dare y'all?
How we kept your mom from you and you not checking her location that entire day was the grace of God.
But that's because I talk to her periodically. The only time I really check my mom's location often is when I don't talk to her. If I call her and she doesn't answer or something and she hasn't called me back. That's the only time I will always check. But I talked to her a couple times that day, so I wasn't worried, about, and then especially when she has to do church stuff. She's a church secretary. She's like, I gotta go do some church
for a couple hours.
I'm like, cool. I'm getting dressed at your house because it's closer to get dressed at your house, blah, blah, blah. So she was like, fine, just.
Oh, we forgot something big.
What?
The night before was that storm, and you almost didn't get your hair done.
Oh, y'all, I got my hair done at my mama's house and like getting my hair washed in the kitchen sink. Shout out to my boo Fred.
Fred and Mr. were like, hey, Dan, don't worry about it. We gonna take care of it.
They came to the house, okay, and it was a beauty shop in the kitchen. And I think Fred still has the picture of me with my head like leaned over in the sink like a little kid because he wasn't expecting me to lean over like that. I'm like, if somebody go wash my hair, I'm gonna be comfortable. So I got on my back like how we used to when our mama used to wash our hair. And he washed my hair and did my hair in my mama's kitchen. Was that the night before?
That was the night before. Was
that the day?
It was either the night before. No, it was the day of.
It was the day of because after I left him, I had to go get my makeup done.
Yep.
So yeah, we did forget about that.
So you start crying, you bust that corner, and in that corner, there's literally like
it's rose petals, candles, and it says love,
and it says love on the inside. And it finally clicks to her.
I know exactly what's happening at that point.
She's like, oh my God. And then as I start walking, Gabe hands me the ring.
I didn't even see the handoff.
Yeah.
Slick. I didn't even see the handoff.
Slick. Hands me the ring. We get there.
You get down on one knee and you blank.
No, not even get down on one knee. I stood there and I blanked. I stood there. I promise you, I had an entire speech prepared and I blanked. And then I started crying.
You did.
Because I was like, wait, I think I told you, I'm not going to cry when we get engaged. In that moment, not only was the anxiety there, not only was me forgetting what I was going to say, but you just looked so beautiful and the moment just felt so full My eyes just started.
There was a lot of love
watering.
in that room.
Yeah. Like
you could the way like tension fills a room.
Yeah.
You could feel the love. Everybody in that room, I know for a fact, supports us individually and also supports us as a couple. That was just such a full and beautiful moment.
Yeah. So that happens.
You finally get down on one knee.
I propose. I get up. And
I finally say yes because I have like this sob stuck in my throat.
I promise you, I knelt down there for what felt like 7 or 8 minutes. When you look at the video, it's probably like 30 seconds.
It's not even 30 seconds.
But
there was a sob stuck.
She was just looking at me. I'm like, I almost looked at her like, nigga, will you? Like, what is going on here?
In my defense, I was shaking my head already. You were just waiting for the verbal yes.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, Courtney goes scream, yes!
So in the actual engagement video, you can't hear her say that. But in all of the other videos we got of other people, recording the moment, he goes, will you marry me? The sob is stuck. I'm shaking my head and you hear Courtney go, yes. And I was like, yes. It was like, I needed Courtney to tell me, like, you need to verbally say this. Like, are you dumb?
Yes.
Like, what's going on here? And what's funny is, as we're talking through this, I'll probably try to overlay pieces of the engagement video into this, like back and forth, and make it happen. But yeah, that was the engagement story, and we partied the night away.
Oh man, first of all, before you could even get down and say your speech, I remember in that like blank space in which you were blanking. Mm-hmm. I remember saying to everybody, like, everybody in this room gotta fight me one by one. Yeah. And that was just in the fact that I knew that everybody in the room had kept that secret. Then I'm like, finding out that you had did this for people had at least known for 2 years about it. I'm for sure like,
no, they hadn't known for 2 years. I'd been planning for 2 years. They knew for about a year.
And I'm like, I done seen everybody.
Yep.
Everybody within a year. Everybody in that room I had seen within a year. And y'all keeping secrets from me, especially my mama.
Yeah.
Especially Asia. I'm like, literally square up. And then obviously Sonia, my auntie, is the one person who actually squares up with me.
Yeah, like literally everybody came into town. My siblings came into town, minus Ruka.
But he was playing football.
We had all of your friends flew in, cousins flew in.
Yeah, it was
an amazing time. Yeah, it was a great moment. So that kind of set the tone for really what the wedding is going to be.
If the wedding, which prayerfully, but if the wedding is anything like the engagement party, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
We had a good time.
We stumbled out of that party.
Yeah, a bit. And
then the next morning, we partied the entire weekend.
Yeah, the next morning we woke up obviously to a flood of calls.
Yep.
And then I think your family came over. Your siblings and your cousins came over.
We ordered food.
And I think she was like, well, we're coming over for brunch. I bought the food already. It's gonna be delivered. And so they came over and we sat for hours sitting here and talking with them.
Just kikied for the house. And then we went down to one mic and celebrated.
No, we went to Mr's birthday party first.
That is true. We did go to, that was that same day. Yeah, we did go to
Mr's birthday party first. And then Fred had to fix my hair because I had sweated it out at the engagement party.
All that dancing.
Yeah. And then we went down to one mic, went down to the bar. And, a couple people met us down there. And I don't think we did anything Sunday. I think
we did do something Sunday. We went to brunch with Janelle, Elaine, and I think was it?
We went to brunch with Janelle and Elaine. Oh, so we celebrated that entire weekend. Yeah.
So that was a time. We had a good time. That's our engagement story. Anything else you want to add?
If there was anything you could change about the engagement, would you? Would you have?
Yes, there's one thing, but I'd rather not talk about that.
Aww.
You know what it is. My parents.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. If there's one thing I would change, it would be that. But not because of them not being there. The reason as to why they weren't there.
Correct.
What else would I change? Other than that, everything was perfect. I have zero regrets.
No regrets?
No regrets.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is there anything else you would change? Is there anything you would change? Is there anything you would have liked to add? Is there anything else that could have made that moment more special?
No. You gave me exactly what I asked for in the time frame in which I had asked for it, and everybody showed up and was absolutely ecstatic for us. There was so much love just in that room. And I loved everybody that was in that room.
Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite things about, first of all, before I even get there, because that gets sentimental, I just want to say that I just hope that we have enough liquor at this doggone wedding because
they drank down an open bar.
we drank that. By the time the engagement party was over, I don't even think she had wine and beer left.
What's crazy is I got a couple bottles as gifts during the engagement.
We had to give it to the bar.
We had to give it to the bar because they drank everything.
Y'all
fishes. All of y'all are fishes.
Drank that bar down.
Yeah.
And I loved every second of it.
You know what? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, one of my favorite parts about the engagement party was the
spraying.
Well, the spraying was cool. I've never been sprayed before to the engagement party. Well, your mom sprayed me once at somebody else's wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just insane to me that Nigerians spray every chance they get. And I've only ever seen like adults do it. So like for your friends and your siblings and stuff to come with that, I was like, I feel so special.
Yes, sir.
Like I think that was one of my favorite moments of like the blending of cultures. That was something that they didn't have to do that, you know what I'm saying? But they did, and it felt very welcoming into the Nigerian culture and into your family.
Yep.
So I did love that. But my absolute favorite piece was the memorial table.
Oh, yeah.
We have lost some key people in our lives just in living.
Say their names. My mom.
Miss Glow.
Big
Miss
Glow.
Gloria. Big Glow, never the little one. And I've never met your mom, but she has such a special place in my heart, and I genuinely feel like I know her.
Hey, man. That's my dog.
Miss Gloria, my grandma, Bessie, my cousin, Shayla, my grandpa, Calvin, my best friend's dad, who was basically my adoptive dad, Andre Collins.
There was one person that we forgot to add, but will be added at the wedding.
Correct. My brother, Bert Evans. That's everybody,
That's
right?
everybody, yep.
And you had a memorial table set up, and it were like they had the gold frames on the table, and they were in like the engagement cake was in the middle. And I just think that was just because there are moments that you just never think you're going to live without these certain people to experience, and it felt like they were there.
Yeah.
And I think that was a detail that I am grateful that you had the foresight to be able to see, because that stuck with me.
Yeah.
That definitely stuck with me to have those people. I'm about to cry. Those people there, but like also considering that they're not there. So and that was something you came up with on your own.
Yeah, I think that was something that I knew they had to be there.
Correct.
Whether or not they're present in the flesh, they were present spiritually.
Amen.
At least that's what I believe.
Absolutely.
So that was something that I could not miss. Few people to shout out. The entire gang, La Gang, y'all, friends and family for life.
Y'all playing the hell out of that.
Y'all playing the hell out of that. One of those people is potentially also going to be our wedding coordinator.
Potentially, she has the job.
Shout out
Miss Nico.
Nico.
Girl, I got the presentation ready for you so you can keep us on track.
Like literally lifelong friends with lifelong memories.
Absolutely. They stuck.
Yeah. That's
honestly, everybody in that room is stuck.
Everybody in that room is stuck.
Everybody in that room was stuck.
I will give you a little sneak tidbit before we get to the wedding episode. The engagement party list pretty much became our wedding guest list.
Yeah, it just transferred over.
It literally just transferred over. So, if you were at the engagement party,
you got to be at the wedding. It's time
we got to do it all over again. Safe to assume that we got a part 2 coming.
Hey man, we got to do it all over again. We got to do it bigger and better.
Yes, sir. Any last things to plug before we end the episode?
I just love you.
I love you too.
I do. You have changed the trajectory of what I thought life would look like. I'm not gonna cry though, because I'm not gonna look at you.
I'm just sitting here.
But no, you've changed the trajectory of what I thought my life would look like. And now that we are here, I refuse I refuse to accept any other or any other future or reality that you're not in it.
Oh.
As my boyfriend, as my friend, then boyfriend, then fiance, and husband. There is no, like Marvel with these in the multiverse, there is no universe where we are not together. And I truly and genuinely feel that. Even with this wedding planning, I've been praying, like, if this is not what I'm supposed to do, I asked specifically, because I like to make my prayer specific. I said, make wedding planning hard for me. Make wedding planning hard, make it so frustrating that I can't breathe. Find the cracks in the foundation of this relationship. Like, if this is not where I'm supposed to be.
That's a dangerous prayer to pray, boy.
It's honest.
Yeah,
I've prayed that, and I have not. There are no signs in this last 2 years of planning. There are no signs of any of that. Period. So I know this is where I want to be. I know that this is ordained. I know that this is God's plan, and I genuinely cannot wait to be Mrs. Orohoro.
All right, I will end it there, and in the same fashion, we're going to end the last episode, we're going to end this one. Remember that all things are in divine order. Give grace to yourself and others where necessary. Keep doing the next right thing. And until next time, keep growing. Bye, guys.
Bye.